So today I'm just going to be talking about kind of like the transition of moving and like moving out on your own, going out to college. I mean, I've been in college for 2 years now. This is my 3rd year in college, and I just feel like if I could take away something from somebody else, just to better prepare myself mentally, I feel like I would benefit from it. And especially coming from Hawaii, I mean, I watched like so many different things about people moving and just their experience, and it's just really different when you're coming from a place that's so far, and just like in everything too, not just geographically, but you know, culturally it's a lot different. And this is just my experience. Everything I'm gonna say is off of my own experience. I'm not saying this is the correct way to do it, and I just feel like I just want to inspire people because man, my thoughts are just so all over the place because I feel like I have so much to say, but I don't want to just go off on a tangent. So I actually had like a list of things that I was going to talk about, and I just needed it to be like categorized so I don't just like go off. So prior to this, I was living home, right? And I was living with my parents. Went to school for 2 years. Got my liberals at UHMC, and it was a really good experience. I wouldn't say they were easy, but they were the type of classes where everybody has to take these at some point in their life. That really cut the cost between like, you know, rent and buying my own food. And of course, this is not for everybody. If you're somebody who feels like you need to go out there and experience it for yourself, and you know, you can handle the burden of like taking care of yourself, I mean, go ahead, go and do that. Just know that you are going to have a harder time financially, and that was just something that I knew I wasn't quite ready for, and I knew that there were other things that I wanted to focus on. So what I did was, I went to school, did my 2 years, and during this time it allowed me to kind of save money in terms of like going and traveling, which is what I seriously love to do. Like, I love to travel, and I love the fact that I got to do that all by myself. After graduating with my liberals, I told myself I was just ready for a change, and I was ready to really kind of elevate my education in terms of what I was offered back home. And I just feel like the opportunities that I was looking for, I wouldn't be able to get that there. So upon moving, I made sure, I feel like the prepping took me a whole year to kind of map out, and so I applied for the following school year around like October. So this is around the time you should think about, you know, moving to another school over next fall, because you need that whole period to kind of sort everything out, from where you're going to live to how you're going to pay for tuition and all this kind of stuff. And thankfully, you know, the school I chose, I go to Portland State, and it's not like, I know for somebody who has, you know, financial struggle, it's kind of hard to imagine yourself going to a university when you're already trying to make ends meet on your own, you know what I mean? But I feel like if education is something that's important to you, and if you feel like you're going to benefit from it in the long run, I would do whatever it takes to get there. And you don't necessarily have to take a lot of classes too. You could just go in a semester, and here, to be a full-time student, you only need to take 2 classes. So for me, I'm taking 3 this semester just to kind of get myself started. And then the following other semesters, because I'm in a trimester school, I'm only going to do the bare minimum, because one, although I get a lot from financial aid, a lot of it is loans as well. What I'm planning to do is gain residency here while living on my own for a year, and then hopefully find that for next school year. And this way, it's smarter. It's, you know, you get to really experience a new school and kind of take it by your own pace, and at least you won't be really in a burden to pay. But I also do have rent, and of course I want to go out and do things. So I feel like just knowing where you have to put your money is so important, because I have been here for about 3 weeks now, and I can honestly say I rarely go out and get coffee or go out to eat. I make sure I stay within my budget of, you know, going to get groceries every week. Budgeting doesn't have to be hard if you don't want it to be. Another thing that was really important was my apartment. So I live right in downtown, and the fact that I get to do that is honestly a big accomplishment to me, because one, living in the city is extremely difficult, just to put it out there. But the apartment that I'm living in right now, you know, it's not the most affordable, but I will say it's so convenient in terms of my location. And I feel like if you're looking for an apartment, you have to distinguish what are the three main things that you're looking for, and then off of those three things, think about if you're going to be spending more, what are you saving on? Because I save on transportation by a lot. I'm saving a lot by, you know, spending a little more on where I'm living. Not only that, but I have a free gym downstairs, and I used to pay like $60 a month for the gym back home. And yes, that's extreme, but I was really dedicated to my gym that I went to. After that, you know, I started to realize, like, you have to cut back on things. Like, I live in a sweet apartment that I really, really love, and I'm a homebody, and I stay home 80% of the time. So it was extremely important for me to have a place that I felt really comfortable in, that I felt like, you know, would be my home for the next couple months. So I'm really excited that I found this place. And everything's a give or take. You know, you're not gonna have the perfect place, trust me. Really, it comes down to a lot of prioritizing and just making do with what you have. Okay, upon moving, I feel like I'm in such a tangent. I'm really sorry, I have just so much to say. If you are going to go apartment hunting, do understand that the window to kind of really apply and get yourself there is probably 4 to 6 weeks. So that's kind of like the open window to really see what's available. So you can't really lock down an apartment 6 months in advance. Like, and if you do, there's probably a lot of costs to that, so really kind of take that into consideration, because I was lucky enough to land my apartment maybe 1.5 months before I was getting there. So that really cleared a lot of things up for me, because after I landed that apartment, I knew I had a place to go when I was getting off the plane. And once I got here, you know, you want to make sure you're keeping in contact with your property manager, because it's really important to know like what you're coming into, because we never met prior to me locking down this apartment. I've never seen my apartment ever. All I was going to go based off of was the floor plans and the pictures that I got, but it was really important for me to kind of get the details straightened out, because I never wanted to show up flat out into my leasing office and be like, okay, where do I go now? You know what I mean? When you're on your own, I think it's a lot harder to, or I guess it's like a wake up call to realize that everything falls back on you, and it's your responsibility to kind of, you know, get your things settled, because if you don't, no one's gonna help you, no one's gonna do anything for you, and you don't get to look at somebody else and be like, okay, what do I do now? Moving here, I spent a lot of money on furniture, just your basic needs, toiletries, all that kind of stuff, kitchen stuff, and I spent roughly $1,000 just to move in. So definitely think about that, because although I wanted to find the best deal, if you're at a time crunch and you just moved in and there's nothing in your apartment, you really just have to make do with what's around you. And I got a U-Haul because we didn't have a car here and I couldn't rent a car. Yeah, think about that kind of stuff, because these are just all the logistics that you don't really think about until you're there. And especially if you're doing this on your own. I'm only 20, so I can't do a lot of things, but we worked around it, you know, everything got settled, and by like the second night I was able to get like a place to sleep in. But I feel like anyone who is gonna get their own place will definitely experience sleeping on the floor, and that was just like a horrible experience, and I hated every minute of it. But I'm very thankful, because it kind of humbles you and makes you realize that there are so many things that you need to think about when you're moving, and you should really be grateful for what you have before that, because when you're on your own, you think about every little thing. But it also feels really good because at the end of the day, I come home and then I look at all my kitchen stuff and I'm like, I own these things, these are mine, I bought this with my own money. And it's like, yeah, those are my pots and pans, and like, I don't know, it's just a gratifying feeling. But other than that, be prepared that there's a lot of things to go through. But in my honest opinion, I feel like you can never really be prepared for everything that's gonna come the day you move, because shit just happens. If you can have a support system there with you, it really helps. I have a boyfriend here, my boyfriend Sean, and he, you know, was a lot of help. I honestly don't know how I was able to do a lot of things that I did without him. He was just such a huge help. Long distance relationships is a whole other thing, and I feel like if you're gonna go into it, have conversation about it. You know what you're gonna get yourself into. Having this space to kind of breathe was really difficult because you're not used to it, and I just feel like you just have to feel through it. You know what I mean? Every person is different, and even the most independent person can have a hard time about it, and that's totally okay. And like, I wish somebody would just tell me sometimes that it was okay. You know what I mean? Like, you really can't put yourself in this pedestal and think that you're perfect and that you're not allowed to feel certain things. I wish I just kind of took a step back and understood that, you know, having all this free time is not a bad thing at all. It's a new time in your life to kind of really be on your own, but it's also very exciting and it's challenging in a good way. And I feel like knowing that I'm here now, I can definitely say that the reality of me growing up is a little bit more apparent. And on a last note, in terms of making friends and just kind of building friendships, I feel like that's something that just takes time. I feel like for the longest time I would kind of put myself down for the fact that I wasn't putting myself out there, and I wasn't kind of building relationships right away. But I've come to know that like, everyone is different. I'm pretty much very satisfied in my own company, and it's something that it's not for everybody. I've come to realize that there's a lot of things in life that you can't really force, and I feel like friendships are one of those things, and it's a thing that will happen for you when you're ready for it. And maybe at this time I am more suited being on my own for a little bit and kind of learning more about myself before I dive into friendships. But that's what I have to say about it. You know what I mean? Don't really expect yourself to be in a certain place or be at a certain pace in life just because it's the norm. Everybody has different paths and different college experiences, and the bottom line is just do whatever makes you happy, because at the end of the day, this time of your life is so important. In terms of jobs or internships or anything you're doing with your free time, I'd say this is the time that you should really be selfish. Like, recently I had this really great opportunity. I'm actually interning as an interior decorator for a residential project that I'm working on, and that's something I've never ever given a thought of. Like, me wanting to do interior design is something that I had a dream of at 4 years old, and it was just one of those things where I'm like, oh yeah, that looks totally fun, but will I really go to school and stuff for it? But I emailed this lady about it, and then she was like, great, I'd love to work together, and let's do it. And I was just really excited because I have never had any experience prior, and it's a new project that's filled with a lot of challenges, and I just really want to spend my life right now developing all these things that I used to think weren't possible because the opportunity just didn't come up. And the fact that they are, it's kind of amazing the way life works like that. And so I really want to utilize my time being here and not working right now to kind of dig deeper. Like, what do I like to do? What things interest me? And I just feel like it'll lead me to something really great. But I think that's all I have to say. I did not want to make this a long video. I hope to make more videos soon, but I'll just definitely let me know what you want to hear, because if you're wondering why I'm looking that way, it's because I have a mirror and I always want to make sure I'm in the frame. But yeah, if you want to see any other kind of videos and me talk about stuff or whatever, just let me know, because I'm open to all suggestion. I don't know what I'm going to do with my YouTube channel just yet, but I know that I definitely want to connect with people and kind of keep this thing going. So I'll see you guys later, and I hope you have a beautiful day.